This is Kyle Martin Paintings. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's super frigid out today, and we're going to have a little bit of indoor studio painting today. Last night I was going through some old paintings on my computer, and I found an image of a backlit tractor that I painted back in 2012, and it really was kind of a nice painting. I remember the day that I painted it, I did the painting in 2 hours because it was Christmas Day that day. I don't think it actually was Christmas Day, but I had to get over to my mom's house because that was the day that we were celebrating Christmas. And so I did this 16 by 20 inch painting in a couple of hours on that day. It really got me thinking about the backlit tractor, and I thought that the backlit tractor was a really nice subject to work on, and so I went through my source images from this past fall, and I found a fall time backlit tractor. Now over here on my messy table, I have a whole bunch of reference plein air paintings that I'm going to use while I make this painting. This is kind of a nice one. Shows really dramatic atmospheric perspective. And so I have all these plein air references that I did out in the field. Here's a nice autumn time scene that I can pull some colors from. This piece has really nice atmospheric perspective. I think that's going to come into play in today's painting. Here's another piece that I thought might help influence my direction today. So first things first, I'm going to get started with a value sketch, just a grayscale sketch on paper. I've got my marker sketch completed. It's right here on this piece of marker paper. You can see I have indicated that the sparkles that are falling onto the tractor are the lightest value that I'm going to have, and those are going to be very close to white. The sky is a little bit darker in value. I'm going to say it's about a 10% value. The ground is slightly darker than the sky, even though it's receiving a lot of the light. It's going to be a little bit darker than the sky, so that's going to be a 20% value. Also, some of the trees, because the trees are backlit, some of the lit up autumn foliage that's on the trees are also going to be that 20% value. Also, some of the bluff will be as well. It's kind of some of this area up in here, 20%. The shadows on the trees will be about 40%. There's two different values of shadows happening on the tractor. There's kind of a really deep dark shadow. I've indicated that as like an 80 or a 90% value. And there's a lighter shadow. There's kind of a dark shadow and a light shadow happening on the tractor. And that lighter bit of shadow is going to be a 70. And the darker bit and the darker shapes are going to be 90%. It's kind of interesting, this cast shadow, that, you know, the sun is kind of up here casting light this way, and this cast shadow is just going to kind of melt together with the tractor. Also, nothing that is in the background is going to be as deep and dark as what is happening in the tractor. So I've got a canvas up here somewhere. It's toned pink, and I'm going to start in the same way. I'm going to kind of use this sketch that I have created to think about the exact composition that I want, and from there it's just going to be heading onto the canvas, first working with a pencil, getting things placed, and then putting in those values. My painting of the tractor that I was talking about at the start of the day's work today took 2 hours of painting. However, I work twice as quickly when I'm in the field, so I know that this one is going to take 4 hours of painting. And so what that means for me is I'm going to work for 2 hours tonight and then 2 hours tomorrow morning to finish this one off. So today I'm going to first underpaint and get the exact placement of all of these shapes on the canvas. And then secondly, I'm going to fill in all these shapes with colors. I'm going to mix the color to reflect the exact value that I've indicated on the sketch here using my value palette. This value palette, this one has been used, but you can see that there's different squares of each value. Like I said, that sky is a 10% value. That sunlit, backlit sky is 10%. So the color and value that I mix is going to be somewhere here. The darkest shadow that I have on the tractor is going to be somewhere in this range. And everything else falls into, the shadows on the trees were going to be a 40% value. So you can see how valuable that value sketch is to me. And I'm going to get started on the canvas. Last night the GoPro ran out of battery before I could talk about the progress that I had made. So here we are in the studio on the second day. And this is the progress that I made towards my shape-based interpretation of this autumn time tractor. Again, we have our values sketch right below the painting on the easel. And today I'm going to finish the painting. I'm going to restate everything that has already happened and add a lot of color. Now, the main thing is that I'm going to be using my value palette, which is right here, to really nail those values. Before I get started today, I'm going to look at the painting that I created in black and white. And what that is going to do is tell me, am I hitting my values? Are the value relationships appropriate? When I look at this painting in black and white, I want it to look just like my value sketch looks. So that, like, the tire of the tractor is darker than the shadow of the trees behind it. The main thing today is to mix those colors, add a ton of color, but none of the color should come at the expense of the values. So for me, that means working closely with the value palette. I've got all my references out here, so that's going to be helpful for me as well. Let's get started in today's session.